Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Anderson, and today's conversation has a title so long I'm going to have to read it to you. It's important, but it's kind of long. COVID Quicksand. Stop sinking into negative toxicity and rise up to your best self. Tough minded techniques that really work. That last line is really the most important one. This is a really, really tough time on everybody. Don't kid yourself about it. No one is having an easy time at this, and some people are having an absolutely horrible time. So it's tough on everybody. And I wanted to talk about today how you can really rise above that and not allow the potential quicksand of a chaotic, difficult, crisis laden situation. Don't let that quicksand pull you down into toxic negativity. Now, of course, you're going to feel negative some of the time. I don't want you to be upset with yourself if you do that. That's kind of natural. The question is, do you allow it to pull you into your worst self rather than your best? Now, that's a really important piece. I'll give you an example. My favorite poet, his name is Jalaluddin Rumi, R-U-M-I. Most people, well, a lot of people know who Rumi was. He was in I think the 13th century, a Sufi poet. In the 1990s, he was the most read poet in the United States. Just amazing. His work is incredible to me and to a lot of other people. He has a story in one of his poems, and he says, a thief walked all day through the beautiful city of Baghdad, and all the thief saw all day long was pockets. Now, clearly, he was a pickpocket, and he was walking around looking for how he could steal things from people. So he's looking at all day long. He walked through this magnificent, beautiful city, and all he saw was pockets. Then Rumi has another piece of a poem, I think, related to that one. He says, and a cow walked through the same city, the magnificent city of Baghdad, and all the cow saw was little tufts of grass. Now, of course the grass was there, and of course the pockets were there. And in this time of crisis, this time of difficulty, this time of chaos, we are right about bad things are happening. People are losing their jobs. People are getting very sick. Some people are dying. Lots of people are dying. All kinds of things are happening to the economy, to individuals, to families. I'm not going to argue the negative side of it. What I'm saying to you is, if you want to get through this better than you were before, if you want to have it affect you negatively in the least possible way, there's certain things that you're going to need to do, and that's what I called it tough-minded techniques that really work. Now, I'm not going to tell you things that are going to transform your life in 2 days. Those don't exist unless they're hard drugs, and then they're going to create worse problem for you than before. There's no easy way through this. And if you start with that, there's not an easy way through this difficulty. And given that, how do I take as much charge and control over myself as I possibly can? It's one thing you can't control is the other people, the other situations. You can't. And that's really hard on people who love to think they're in control or trying to control all things. Now, think about this. Negativity is a function of your imagination. Negativity is a function of your imagination. And I want you to think of your imagination like a horse. It's going to run, and you're on it, and if you don't have a bridle for it to direct its direction, it could take you into some pretty dark places. Your imagination, and the smarter you are, The more imagination you have, probably, the more capable you are of taking yourself down a dark road. And if you don't want to go down the road of negativity, you're going to have to take charge of that horse I call the imagination, the horse of the imagination. Now, here's the thing. All of us have tendencies towards thinking negatively. And in a bad situation, we start imagining all the bad outcomes. And if I sat here, I could talk for 10 or 15 hours about the potential negative things that could happen to me, to you, and to everybody else as we come through this. And all that would do is make you sick with fear, toxic fear. It would not be useful to you at all. Now, I'll tell you what really works. Really, these things I'm going to suggest to you really work. You get to choose if you want to do them or not. You get to choose if you practice. Now, remember, if you've ever lifted weights, and today a lot of people have done at least some weightlifting, if you want to become strong physically, you have to lift weights. And you don't start with 500 pounds. You start with maybe 5 or 10 pound weights. And reasonably, you exercise so that you build your capacity and you grow. That's what you're going to have to do with what I'm going to suggest to you, unless you're already doing some of it. Then I'm saying do more. Do more. How we frame the experience is going to dictate to us how we come through it. Now, if an artist or an architect walked through the same city of Baghdad, that person would not see tufts of grass, and they would not see pockets. They would see art and architecture that was magnificent. Same city. Now, some people are going to go through the COVID virus event and come out worse than when they went in. Absolutely true, totally predictable. I don't want that to be you. I don't want you to come through this and be worse than you were before. In fact, I don't even want you to come through it and be the same as you were before. I want to encourage you to do some things that will bring you out a better person. That you have acquired some realizations, some lessons, some skills, some abilities, some ways of thinking about yourself in life that are going to serve you not only to get through this, but to make you better as you come out on the other side. And there are ways to do that, ways to do it. But not by thinking the worst possible things that could happen, not by just letting that horse in your head run out of control and take you over a cliff. Yes, we're all capable of that. And yes, there are things in this environment right now, this chaotic environment, that invite us to do that. No kidding. You probably already do feel that way to some degree. Some of you are already walking around and have that feeling myself sometimes. It's already way more than I can take. That's the point at which we need to go to new ground. I want to read you something that Rumi wrote 700 years ago that applies to this. It's always meaningful to me when I read it. I'll just read it to you first and then I'll talk about it. Forget the world and so command the world. Be a lamp or a lifeboat or a ladder. Help someone's soul heal. Walk out of your house like a shepherd. Stay in the spiritual fire. Let it cook you. Be a well-baked loaf and lord of the table. Come and be served to your brothers. You've been a source of pain. Now you'll be the delight. You have been an unsafe house. Now you'll be the one who sees into the invisible. Be a lamp. Be a lifeboat or a ladder. My friend, this is a decision. And we get to be a lifeboat, a ladder, a lamp, by accessing something that in reality is within us. Sometimes we call it the higher self. Sometimes some people call it the universe. Many of us call it God. It means looking for, inviting, calling to, creating even more of a relationship with that which is greater and more powerful than the small self that's within us. We can't get through this by being the small self. We will get worse. We will get crushed. You know that statement called, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger? Sonny told me not to curse when I do these videos, but I'm telling you, that one is bullshit. Forgive me, dear. That's crap. Because sometimes, many times, people come through things that are really rough on them and they don't get killed and they come out worse. They come out way worse and they don't recover. It happens all the time. So I'm saying to you, if you don't want to come out worse, pay attention. Look for the higher self. Look for the divine self. Look for a connection to God. Now, I'm not telling you which religion to be connected to. I'm saying there's a presence in you that waits to be invited to lift you up, to turn you into a lamp or a lifeboat or a ladder, instead of quicksand. The negativity of quicksand that pulls you and everybody around you down, down, down. And you have a decision about that. You can start your day, and this is part of the technique, okay? Part of the techniques, or one of the techniques, is to start your day and throughout the day to have practices that lift you up, that access that greater power. I just gave you one of mine. I read Rumi every day. And I don't just read Rumi and then get it done. I sit with it, I read it, I let it wash over me, nurture me, touch me, move me. He says, be a lamp or a lifeboat. Be a well-baked loaf. When the heat is on, become the loaf. And that's a decision to go to places like Rumi. You want to go to your Bible, your scriptures, your great poems. That's the place to go. Pray every day. And if you're not used to praying, it doesn't matter. That power is always waiting for you to call. That power is always there, waiting on you, waiting on me to say, help me. I'm opening myself right now to something greater than me. I need to get through this. Lead me, guide me, open me this day. That's probably the best prayer that we could pray, and Rumi has a way of talking about it. He says, prayer is an egg. Hatch out the total helplessness inside. That's how a lot of us are feeling these days. We look at what's going on, the chaos, and we don't know what to touch, or who to breathe on, or who not to breathe on. We feel helpless. The good news about that is the perfect place for us to be, you and me, to open up to a power greater than us. I can't say that God or the divine visited this catastrophe upon us. I don't think like that. But I'll tell you this, in the midst of it, we can use it. We can use the heat of it. He says, stay in the spiritual fire. Let it cook you. Don't run away from the heat. Don't run away from the difficulty. Do not run away from that sense of helplessness. Be in it. Open yourself to it. And invite that which is greater, that love, that guidance, that power to come in, to fill you, and to send you in the best direction, to give you a new sight, a way of seeing things and understanding. There's no greater technique than this one to help us get through a crisis. I've been through far more crises than I care to enumerate to you right now, and I'm telling you, I learned this by being cooked in the fire. So if you think you just want to rely on yourself, if you think you can just get by holding on to your family or friends, yeah, that helps. But if you really want to be moved in the direction of that really special self that you have inside of you, open yourself during this every single day to a greater power. Now, I read Rumi. I suggest that you read things that are inspirational, that move you, that touch you. I also suggest strongly that you take time to meditate. You can go on YouTube and find 1,000 different ways to meditate, but essentially it means to sit quietly, to breathe, to relax, and to use a mantra, something like peace or healing or love. As long as you use the same one over and over again, it helps. There's all kinds of ways to learn about meditation. I'm not going to teach you meditation right now. I'm just saying, if you don't do it, learn. And if you already know it, do it every day. Don't leave it out. It's just like physical exercise. We have to do it every day, a daily practice. The third thing is big these days in psychological and spiritual circles, and that is, look for what you feel grateful about. I was moved to tears yesterday when I watched Andrea Bocelli sing in the Duomo in Milan. Absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. Touched my soul, lifted my spirit. Go watch it, and don't watch it once. Don't watch it twice. Don't watch it 3 times. Watch it once a day for 10 days or 20 days or 30 days. Take this seriously. This is tough-minded. I'm not fooling around with you. Do something that matters, that's different. You will drop the negativity. You will emerge from the quicksand, and you will be a lifeboat, just not only for you, but for everyone around you. You have it in you. It is a power greater than you. And this is the time when we feel helpless, when we feel broken open, and we feel in need. That is the perfect time to open to that power greater than us. You want more help? Dr. A at dracoach.com. Reach out to me. I'll help you. But first, sit quietly, open your heart, open your mind, and say, help me. Help me. God bless you.